Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I am here live with Robin White from, tell them the name of your company because I'm
RDW Design Studio.
So as I told Robin right before we came live, I'm not usually live on Mondays, and there's a reason because I'm getting back in the swing after my weekend. So my apologies, Robin. RDW. I always wanted you to change that to something I could remember easily. Like your name, but we know websites, like I just redid my website, that's not always the way it is. But I'm excited today because I have a different opinion than a lot of people on blogging, and I'm okay with that. And I think there's pros to cons to both points of views. And today we're going to go over somebody's website that blogs, and we're going to give some feedback on that, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So tell everyone first where to find you and what you do so that they can, if they disappear from our broadcast, they'll know where to get you.
Oh, yeah. So I'm Robin White, and my business is RDW Design Studio, and I am a strategic brand and website designer and an SEO specialist as well. And I work almost exclusively with interior designers on their brands and websites. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so get us started here. I won't share yet until you tell me when we're going to share her screen and actually show you her blog posts.
Yeah. So I thought I would just start out by sharing that I totally understand, and Nancy, you do too. There's a love-hate relationship with blogs. I think this has been going on for quite a while. It's a lot of work to keep up with writing them, but there is tremendous value if you decide that blogging is part of your marketing strategy. It can help you. It is the basis of SEO. I mean, if you're going to focus on SEO, you really need to be blogging. But aside from that, the thing that blogging can do for you is content repurposing. So you can get, 3 to 5 social media posts out of a blog. You can drive Pinterest traffic to your blog. You can do a YouTube video with a short summary about your blog and then drive traffic back to your website. You can repurpose it in a newsletter. So the thing is, it's not just a blog on your website. It's something that can be turned into so many other things that can help with any marketing initiatives that you have. I totally understand it's not for everyone. If you do decide to blog, the one thing that I cannot stress the most is you really need to commit to doing it strategically. Not just blogging for the sake of blogging. We don't want you just throwing up posts for content. They need to be done with a strategy behind it, so it's actually gaining you visibility.
Give an example, Robin, of a strategy, like a strategic sentence that makes sense to people. I don't know if people understand what blogging strategically actually means.
Yeah. So interior designers, generally speaking, are local businesses. So a major portion of what you're blogging about needs to be something that is local. So for example, we're going to be looking at Deneen Jackson Interiors website. Deneen is based in Buffalo, New York. So I'm just going to assume Buffalo is her primary service area. So what she's going to want to do is think about keyword phrases that have Buffalo in it that she can blog about. So an example is Buffalo kitchen remodel. If she did a kitchen remodel as a project, she can write a blog post about Buffalo kitchen remodeling, Buffalo kitchen remodel, a kitchen renovation in Buffalo, right? This, writing just about a kitchen remodel, that does not help Deneen at all.
Even you saying it's like, oh yeah, it's so logical.
Anyone in the entire world could be searching for a kitchen renovation. This does not help a local business. She wants people who are specifically looking for that kind of information in her area. So we always want to think about, just as a starting point, think about your different kinds of services and your different locations, because I'm sure she services a couple of other areas aside from just Buffalo, right? But let's say she does full service design, bathroom renovations, kitchen renovations, whole home remodels. Do you know what I mean? Color consultations. We want to be writing about each of those services with the location.
Just as a strategy that you're mentioning in this particular example is the location strategy, making sure you're mentioning the location in your blog. So if someone from that location is searching, it's going to be more likely to feed them that
Exactly.
that
Exactly. And
information
there's
to
so
your
many
website.
other different strategies, but that's just one example. And then there's obviously a place for, let's say, those kind of how-to posts that we see a lot of out there. How to choose the best white paint color, right? That is useful. Chances are it's not going to bring traffic to your website. It's not going to bring local leads to your website, but it does send out signals of your expertise and your authoritativeness on the topic of interior design. So those are worthwhile posts, but if your entire blog is filled with those, that's no good.
Right. Then that's more attracting DIYers who are getting information from you, not right. So you want to be considered the expert.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to look to show your expertise. You also want to show your location and come up with titles of things that you think people are actually going to their computer and Googling for in order to make the blog worthwhile.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So why don't we take a look at
Okay.
Denise's blog page?
Let's share the screen.
Okay.
Okay. So it's probably very small for our Instagram people, but hopefully everyone can see.
Yeah.
And let me go over. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to start with Denise's header, which is obviously on all the pages of her website. But I'm seeing that the menu is on one side with her logo in the middle, and then we've got nothing on the other side. And I'd love to see a little bit more balance here. So if she wants to keep her logo centered, I would recommend splitting up the menu so that half is on one side and half is on the other side, or put the logo on the left with the menu on the right, just so we've got some symmetry.
Okay, so some people, it's probably hard for them to see, but I'm going to try to take my cursor, which again, I'm not sure if they can see it, but top left is the home. It's kind of flashing. And then it's other menu options, all left heavy. So you're saying maybe split it up so that it looks more even on the screen.
Exactly. Yeah. If she wants to keep her logo in the center. Otherwise, I would say logo on the left, menu on the right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing I would just mention about her menu is she has blog on the end right with contact next to it. We always want to put contact at the far right because that's where our eye tends to focus on first. And contact is really, I'm imagining what the primary goal of Denise's website is. We want people to contact her. So we want it to have the most prominent spot in the menu.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just a few
So
design
contact over the last item on the menu and possibly splitting the menu right and left if she wants to keep her logo center or move her logo to the right. This way there's symmetry.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But then if we look at her hero section, it's great. She's got a nice heading here. We know exactly what it is. And she's actually put her location in here, which is wonderful.
I noticed that.
Who the blog is for. So that's really well done. I love that it's a large font size. I can read it. It's easy to read on the background. We've got a photo behind it with a nice overlay. So it looks really good. Well done here.
And question that I have, it doesn't say Buffalo, New York. Does that matter?
It doesn't matter. Where that can matter is if you have a town that is a common name that is in a lot of locations. So let's say Springfield, Massachusetts, Springfield, Illinois. I'm sure there's lots of other Springfields. There's a Peoria, Illinois. There's a Peoria, Arizona. So places where I found this with a designer I was working with in Pennsylvania, and she was in York. And if you search York interior designer, New York comes up a lot of the time. So then you would want to do York, PA. But Buffalo, off the top of my head, I'm not really thinking of any others. And I think the New York one is the most well-known. So I think she's in good shape there.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, so if we scroll.
So I like the fact that she's got a featured post at the top. That's wonderful. She has a search function, which is nice. But something that I would love to see are her categories. And the reason I say that are because we don't have them. Then she goes into her blog role. which is why I think
Yes,
it's
there
nice
you
to
go.
have a featured post at the top. The reason categories can be incredibly useful to the visitor of your website is if you are blogging for a long time and you're blogging very consistently, there's a lot of blogs to go through. So categories are a way to organize the blogs and a way for the visitor to the website to find what they're looking for. So with categories, what you want to think about are sort of overarching themes that you're writing about. And one way you can break this down could be something like design, remodeling, tips, and projects. Like those could be just 4 example categories as an example. So we're kind of thinking high level. We're not going down into the nitty gritty or anything like that. Another way to think about it is if you were a social media manager, you could have each of the platforms be a category. There could be Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever, Twitter, whatever else there is. So it's kind of thinking high level of how somebody might want to search for different posts. So someone could go in and search just tips or just design or just projects, and your archive would pull all of those up.
I love
so
that
it's
idea. Yeah.
yeah, and it's a forward thinking way. So once you're 15 years in, there's a way to kind of organize all the content. So sometimes it can be nice just to have the categories listed out so people can click on them, and then it will only bring up the posts that have been categorized that way.
So does it make sense sometimes, Robin, for them to do, if they're really looking to attract kitchen and baths, that they have a category for kitchens, a category for
Absolutely.
baths?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, you can break them down however you want. I don't recommend having more than like 6. That can
Okay.
then it starts to dilute the helpfulness of the categories, but somewhere
Yes.
between 3, 4, 5, 6 is a really good number, just as a way, it's really a way to help the visitor find the information they're looking for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, I think Danine's done a good job here with some font hierarchy. We've got the title is larger than the read more, is larger than the date. She's got a featured image set up for everything, which is really nice. So I think she's done a pretty good job here. Nancy and I were talking beforehand. I think sometimes some of the titles could be worked on a little bit. But oftentimes what we want to do when we blog is, put the blog out there, publish it, and watch it. Go into your Google Search Console and see, how is this page performing? Is it driving any traffic to your website? If it's not, then this is an opportunity to change things up. Maybe you need to add more content. Maybe you need to change the content. Maybe the title is not enticing enough, right? So
Now, let's talk about that, because I don't think people realize you can go in and change your blog. So like if we write a new blog, that then I can reference the new blog in one of our old blogs. We'll go back to our old blogs and we'll add a sentence, or we'll add a link to the new blog and we'll update. I don't know if people realize your blogs are living, dynamic, breathing things on your website. You can go change the date, the title, the content anytime you want, and Google will read that as an update to your website, correct?
Yes. And Nancy, thank you for bringing that up, because that internal linking structure is something that is incredibly important for your website. And which is why, and I wasn't going to get into this today, but I'll mention it very briefly, why content clusters or content pillars are such an important way to think strategically about your blog. So coming up with your major content pillars or clusters, and then you have a pillar post, which is your big overarching post, and then you have 5 or 6 supporting posts, and they're all linked to from that pillar post and then interlinked. This is all your internal linking structure. You might link from pillar to pillar, and then think about what can you link, what blog post can link back to a services page, and what services page can link to a blog post. And all of this is set up to help your visitor stay on your website and keep following that breadcrumb trail. But this is also set up for the Google bots that come out to crawl and index your site to follow and stay on your site. So that linking
Absolutely.
structure is so important.
The linking structure is important, and it's technical, everybody, but
Yeah.
the easiest way for me to understand it, because I'm not tech savvy as much as people sometimes think, is it keeps people on your website longer. And when you get that statistic, Google likes that. Were they on your website for 30 seconds, or were they on your website for a minute and a half? Like these little differences, because they were reading a blog that was then linked to another blog, and they clicked that link and they went over. Keeping them there tells Google that people are interested in your website. It's got good information, and it'll feed it to more people who go up to their computer or their phones to find someone like you. So
it's called dwell time, and it's really important. And the opposite of that is, I think in analytics, it's called engagement rate, how much time they've spent on the site. The opposite of that is your bounce rate. So if someone comes on, they're there for 5 seconds and they bounce off, that sends a negative signal to Google, and that happens a few times, they're less likely, you're going to drop in search result rankings. Whereas the higher dwell time, you're going to go up, because what that shows Google is when they serve that web page in search results and people spend more time on your site, that they've actually satisfied the search intent. Whereas the high bounce rate signifies to Google they have not satisfied the search intent.
Oh, I like that. I've never heard it worded like that. Satisfied the search intent. So if your website satisfies the search intent of the person who was searching, and they stayed on your website, which is the proof that it's satisfied because they're reading basically, or they're looking around, that tells Google that your website is valuable for people searching. Interesting.
And Google wants Google's a business. They want people to keep using them to search for things. So if there's high bounce rates, then Google is not satisfying the search intent. People might not want to use Google to find what they're looking for, right? So it's all this giant ecosystem.
It's very complicated.
It's very complicated.
So how interior designers get clients from blogging, right?
Why don't we pop into one of Deneen's blog posts and take a look at how the post is laid out? Because I've got a couple of suggestions for her in there.
Okay, so how the right designer helps you make confident furniture decisions. I like that title, by the way.
So one thing she could do is put Buffalo designer.
Right here,
Buffalo designer. That's one way to think about. But I like the fact she's got her title front and center. I think it's very tiny. I think she has her date up at the very top, if I'm seeing correctly.
No, it's written by Deneen Jackson. The date
so that's great that she's got the written by Deneen Jackson, because that was something that I wanted to talk about. So something that is really important for Google and for ChatGPT is something called EEAT. And that stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So when you're writing a blog, you want to be sharing EEAT. You want to show that you're experienced, you have experience, you have made confident furniture decisions for your clients, you have the expertise to make those decisions, you have the authority to back it up, and we can trust you doing this, right? So this is all really important because Google values this, and the LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini value this as well. One way to show trustworthiness, expertise, authoritativeness is who wrote the post. So authorship and genuine authorship, especially in this age of AI, is incredibly important. So it's not enough just to say written by and your name, right? I can speak to a WordPress website. I'm sure the other websites have the same kind of functionality. You can actually have what's called an author box, where we have a little image of you. We can have a bio, a very short bio of you, and your name. And then that can either link back to your about page, or it can link to your archive page with all the posts that you've written. When you're writing this bio, it should be very short. I'm talking 2-3 sentences max. We're not talking about, I love interior design because I used to rearrange my bedroom when I was 8 years old.
I know that's my pet
This
peeve. Yeah.
is where we really need to establish you as an authority and an expert and show that you're trusted. So this is where you want to mention press, any press, who you're trusted by, right? So this could be, Deneen Jackson has been an interior designer for the last 25 years. Establish your authority, right? She's been featured in XYZ magazine and recognized by, the IDS and ASID. Just as an example, like we want
Would that go up here by her name where it says written by Denise Jackson and then her bio would be right there
So
in
she
WordPress?
can leave that as it is, and I like to put the little more author information toward the bottom of the website or in the sidebar. Yeah, where you would have your image and a little bio. But that sort of authority, trustworthiness that's coming across in that bio, that's really important. Something else. So she's done a really lovely job here. She's got images, she has headings, she has body text. When I was looking through some of the posts, I know there were a couple of places where she had either bullet lists or numbered lists. So it's laid out, and she does have this here, which is great. But I'd love to see a little bio there.
Yes. Okay. I agree. A little picture was nice too. I like that. At least I know who I'm reading about.
Exactly. And there is such a thing called guest blogging. So sometimes there might be someone who's written, or a large company where several people are writing blogs. Then they might have a written by and an edited by. But something else that's become increasingly important in your blogs now, and this comes about with the rise of people searching in LLMs for information. I highly recommend having a in summary section at the top of the blog. Key takeaways, TLDR, in summary. This is where you want to give 3-4 sentences maybe. What is the gist of what you're saying without someone having to read the entire post?
And so that's for your scanners or your quick readers. They'll just do. So you're saying at the top of this, this blog is about type of paragraph.
Key takeaways in summary. Exactly. Then the other thing that can be really helpful, and Nancy and I were talking about this before, having an FAQ section at the end of the blog. Yes. And what you can do in here is quote yourself, mention yourself. Deneen Jackson, according to Deneen Jackson, the things you want to look for when you're buying furniture are, and list out a couple. That is going to show Google and ChatGPT, again, you are an authority, you are an expert. Reference yourself in those FAQs. Most importantly, they need to be wrapped in FAQ structured data or schema. Schema markup, this is technical, has become very important. We want to make sure your blogs are marked as article and that the FAQ is marked as with FAQ schema. This is how the computers read what you're.
So let me give a little context on that. Have you ever gone up to Google and said, what is the best color to use on whatever? And it gives you answers. And you think those are answers from Google, right? But they're actually FAQ facts that were wrapped by someone who wrote an article or a blog, and they wrapped the answer. So the answer gets shown to you when you Google it as the answer. But it's really, that's why you have to be careful that everything you find on Google is not necessarily correct. Somebody wrote it and it could be coming up in front of you, right? So when you wrap your FAQs, those will help Google show your answers to people who are searching for those answers. And it makes them feel like, oh, this is the answer. Let me click and read the article. And now it's your article. And that's what makes them then stay on your website and start looking you up.
Yes. And there's a lot of talk that the FAQ schema can be very useful for LLMs as well. And think about this. The reason is people are searching questions in ChatGPT a lot,
Yes.
and long form searches, right? This is not keyword based when we're using ChatGPT. We're putting in questions or long sentences.
Yes.
Do some playing around in chat or in Gemini and see what are people searching for that has to do with interior design, right?
In your area.
Exactly.
Yes.
Write a blog post about it, create FAQs about it. FAQs are great on your services pages as well for the same exact reason, right?
Okay.
And what I recommend, let's say when we're talking about FAQ on a services page, you might talk about how much does an interior designer cost, for example. This is a fantastic FAQ to have on your services page. People search for this, right? Give a 2-paragraph answer. The first paragraph is very general, right? Because you're not quoting what you charge or anything. Talk about all the little things that go into it and how the price can vary so much depending on X, Y, and Z. Then at insert name of company, we blah, 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 blah. So you're answering it in general, and then you're answering it specific to your business, right?
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. This is what keeps people feeling like the answer isn't vague and it's a specific answer still. But yeah, this wrapping of your FAQs and getting clients from blogging, this will help you get clients from blogging if you can learn how to wrap your FAQs or have your web designer. I'm going up, down, and all the different. Have someone like Robin help you out with this. This is going to be. It's still a long game. It's not something that's going to happen overnight because it's related to Google and search engine optimization and large language models, LLMs, finding you. But I do believe that blogging is helpful for you to be found by the people who are going up to their phones and their computers and looking for someone to do what you do. And without the blogging, they may not find you, even when your website is excellent as one avenue of your marketing. One avenue. There's multiple.
It's one avenue, but as we said in the beginning, it can help with so many other avenues of marketing, of your marketing plan as well. So that's why I always say, don't look at it just as a blog. Look at it as a blog and a newsletter and social media post and, right? So it can just help with
huge influencers that I remember years ago, probably 10 years ago when I first came into the coaching space. Shailene Johnson, who's a huge influencer, was teaching, write a blog. She had a whole chart. She's like, I forget at the time, it was probably like a 1,500 word blog, and then break it down to 10 social media posts for Facebook, and then break that down to 20 Instagram posts, and then break that down to 40 Twitter. Back then it was like Twitter, right? And she showed the chart and she literally showed the example. And I started teaching that as well for interior designers because it works. It makes you focus on one content per month and get all your mini content out of it. And it's something that then can speed up your marketing because marketing is a bear for everybody.
It is. It's a really important thing to do. You know, Nancy and I were talking about this before, and I don't think it's for absolutely everyone, but for the majority of designers out there, blogging is a really important piece of the marketing pie and something you should really be thinking about, but doing it with an underpinning of strategy. So you're not just creating content and spinning the wheels and wasting your time.
Absolutely. So how do interior designers get clients from blogging? Have a rock solid strategy.
Yeah. And it's a local strategy.
Yes, I really like that. Have a local strategy with your blogging and your content, and it will help you be found, period. End of story. I mean, it's that simple, but it's work to get it done.
Yeah.
So, all right. Did we miss anything, Robin?
No, I think we're in really good shape. I mean, the one thing I would say, I don't remember if this was at the bottom of Deneen's blog post, but at the bottom of every blog post, I recommend having a call to action. Whatever it is that you want the visitor to your website to do next, right? Do you want them to learn more about you? Do you want them to learn more about your services? Do you want them to visit your portfolio? Should they contact you? Like, based on what you've just written about, what would be the logical next step? And then within that blog post, was there any place else on your website that you could link to? This goes back to our internal linking structure. But, if you are talking about furniture like Deneen was, is there a portfolio project page that it would be worthwhile to send people to look at? External linking is not harmful. If there is a very relevant external link that would be beneficial, you can put that in there.
Okay, that makes sense. And she does have a let's chat. Her last sentence, which I had stopped sharing the screen, but her last sentence said, if you're ready to shop smarter, design with clarity, and finally create a home that supports your life, not just decorating it, let's chat. And it's a link to her contact page, which is perfect.
Fantastic. She's doing a really good job. She's got a lot of posts out there. So obviously she's taking this seriously. And I think there's just a couple of tweaks that could just make it that much better. And then just looking at Search Console and analytics to see which ones are doing really well. The other thing is see which ones might be ranking on page 3 or 4 and what little tweaks can you make that might get them onto 1 or 2.
Yes,
right?
Definitely. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Robin.
You're welcome.
Tell everyone again how to find you.
Sure. So my website is the best place to find me, find all about me, see what I'm up to. It's rdwdesignstudio.com. And then I'm also pretty active on Instagram, which is rdw design studio.
And I just put it above your head, even though it's hard for people to see on Instagram, but it's rdwdesignstudio.com. So head over there if you're really not sure about your website. Is it working for you? Is it your 24/7 employee that's actually bringing in the clients that you want? If not, get on with Robin, have a conversation, see what it's going to take to get it done right. And I always say to everybody, you can save for it, you can plan for it, but without the conversation, you don't even know what direction you're heading in. So have the conversation with Robin, even if it's a twinkle in your eye, or if you've been thinking about it for a long time and you're finally ready, have the conversation, because without it, you don't know Robin well enough, and her process is buttoned up really tight. And I think you're going to be thrilled with the website or the SEO work you get out of Robin. But you have to start by taking the action and making the phone call, right?
Yeah.
Pick it up, or go into your contact form on your website.
Yes.
You have it all set up. So.
It's all set up.
All right, everyone, go have a great Monday and a great week. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, Rob.